At the beginning, he crossed the continent of Douluo and became the adopted son of His Majesty the Pope Bibidong. He thought his life would pass like this, but unexpectedly, he awakened the divine-level diary system. As long as he records his diary, he can receive various rewards. One day, when His Majesty the Pope opened his diary and saw the Shrek Academy recorded above, he immediately ordered. The martial soul hall obeys orders, strangle Shrek Academy, leave no grass. Keywords of the novel. Douluo. The Pope Peer's diary, unexpectedly kills Shrek without pop-ups, Douluo. The Pope Peer's diary, unexpectedly kills Shrek complete collection download, Douluo. The Pope Peer's diary, unexpectedly kills Shrek latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Divine Note System, Congenital Full Soul Power. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Divine Note System, Congenital Full Soul Power. Chapter 1 Douluo Continent, Martial Soul City. Just after noon, the bustling streets were bustling with people. There are numerous shops on both sides, with people constantly entering and exiting. In front of the Martial Soul Hall, a 6-year-old child sat staring blankly at the crowd. Lin Yan, how unlucky are you really? I've been here for a year now, and even without a golden finger, it's okay. Why hasn't even my martial soul awakened? With a sigh, full of pain. Lin Yan, like Tang San, is a traveler. What troubles him is that he doesn't have the same background and luck as Tang San. The only thing worth celebrating is being adopted by Bibidong. That's right. That's the current pope, Bibidon. When Lin Yan first crossed over, he happened to be in the martial soul city. His body is in a 5-year-old state, with a cute appearance that makes it impossible for him to be independent. Bibidong saw him on the roadside and unexpectedly stepped forward to inquire about the situation. Under the explanation of his nonsense and the death of his parents, Bibidong moved with compassion and took him back. At that moment, Lin Yan felt that his life was about to reach its peak. Unexpectedly, when he just woke up his martial soul, he failed. Immediately, his face was filled with sadness and extreme unwillingness. Is he just that bad? Tang San is naturally full of soul power, dual martial souls. As both travelers, Lin Yan was naturally unwilling. If calculated by time, Tang San should be the same age as me. That is to say, he may have awakened now and is ready to go to Notting Junior Soul Master Academy. Thinking of the widening gap between myself and Tang San, I felt a wave of irritability in my heart. If there were only him as a traveler in this world, perhaps it would feel better. During his contemplation, a group of children passed by him. They all performed the awakening ceremony together with Lin Yan, and at this moment, they saw him sitting alone on the ground, emitting a burst of ridicule. Is he the child adopted by the Pope? He even failed to awaken his martial soul. It's really surprising. I didn't expect that the Pope would also misread people. This kind of person is already destined and cannot compare with us. Why bother with him? I have heard that the Pope seems to want to send him away after his failed awakening of his martial soul. As they spoke, everyone looked at Lin Yan. In his eyes, there was a feeling of superiority. Lin Yan held his chin and ignored their gaze. He, who has been a person of 2 generations, has already seen through these things. Just the unwillingness in my heart, even stronger. Douluo Continent is a world where the strong hold only respect. In the eyes of these soul masters, ordinary people are no different from ants. Damn it. Do we really have to live like this for a lifetime? How could I have no soul power at all? Ding, divine level note-taking system, full of soul power, currently loading. What the hell? Upon hearing the mechanical sound in his mind, Lin Yan was taken aback and stood in place. System. Ding, the system has been loaded, sleeping slot, the golden finger has been credited. Lin Yan, who originally thought he had an illusion, heard the mechanical sound again and finally confirmed that it was not an illusion. After coming to Douluo continent for a year, he has completely given up. Unexpectedly, the system was suddenly activated today. After a moment, Lin Yan calmed down his inner excitement completely. What functions do you have in the divine level note-taking system? Ding, as long as the host writes a diary every day, they can become stronger, and there is no limit to their strength growth. Fragrant. Is the system really special? Fragrant. But you said you want to write a diary, how do you write it? As soon as he finished speaking, he suddenly felt a foreign object appear in his arms. Reaching out, it was a black notebook with a gold border, on which was written the divine note. There is also a black pen called Douluo pen. Lin Yan held his diary and carefully flipped through it, but did not find anything special. Is it enough to just write a diary on this? Ding, yes, the host can record some things freely every day and receive rewards, including but not limited to martial souls, soul power, soul bones, soul weapons, pills, and so on. Lin Yan's eyes lit up and a joyful smile appeared on his face. But soon, he had doubts. System, I have been here for a year now. How did you awaken? Ding, the system awakens and requires soul power injection to activate. The host provides soul power for a year before the system fully awakens. Upon hearing this, Lin Yan immediately understood. It turns out that it's not that I don't have soul power, but that I've been secretly absorbed by this system. But now he's too lazy to argue anymore. Since he's already awakened, isn't it a waste if he doesn't make good use of it? Lin Yan opened his divine level notes, holding a Douluo pen in his hand, and a hint of excitement appeared on his face. What should I write? After considering for a moment, there was a plan in mind. Holding a Douluo pen in hand, he began writing with a focused expression on his face. I thought I couldn't wake up, but unexpectedly, I suddenly woke up successfully again. It's really heartbreaking. Today I was given cold looks by some little brats, and my mood was supposed to be bad, but now it's completely different. Life's ups and downs are so fast, it's simply too exciting. After writing nearly 100 words fluently, Lin Yan looked at the notes with satisfaction. I don't know why, but I always felt like something was missing, and in the end, I added another stroke. Goal. Become a god. After finishing the last few words, I put away my Douluo pen and closed my notebook. Shouldn't that be enough? Lin Yan's face was filled with anticipation, quietly waiting for the system's reply. Ding, confirm that the diary is completed and is currently being uploaded. Ding, successfully uploaded. Congratulations to the host for completing the first diary and receiving the reward. Innate full soul power. Ding, for the first time the host uses the divine note, reward a newbie gift pack. Ding, the beginner gift pack has been distributed to the system backpack. Do you want to open it directly? A series of sounds kept ringing in Lin Yan's mind. Especially the 5 words, innate full soul power, are extremely prominent. Lie down. Bully. Lin Yan suddenly widened his eyes. His innate full soul power is still good. Has the golden finger of the traveler actually become so fragrant? In a moment of shock, a force surged out of the body, constantly filling the entire body. This soul power comes quickly and urgently, but it is extremely gentle, as if it is naturally born within the body. Quickly, Lin Yan calmed down and felt his own strength, while secretly thinking to himself. In the Douluo continent, there are as many soul masters as cattle and hare. But there are only a few people who can possess innate soul power. These people, as long as they do not die prematurely or give up their cultivation midway, will eventually reach the level of titles. And now I have also become one of them. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Awesome's Novice Gift Bag, Double Wulin. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Awesome's Novice Gift Bag, double Wulin. After stabilizing his emotions, Lin Yan looked at the system backpack with anticipation in his eyes. System, open the beginner gift pack. Since the system is so awesome, the novice gift package must have something better. Ding, the beginner gift pack has been used successfully. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the twin martial soul talent. Ding, congratulations to the host, you have obtained 2 copies of the ultimate martial soul. Xian Yuan Sword, Demon Lord. Ding, congratulations to the host, obtained skill. Soul Ring Growth. Ding, congratulations to the host. You have obtained the immortal herb and are looking forward to the autumn dew. Another series of improvements made Lin Yan dizzy in his mind. This is not because of the system prompt, but because of the reward items. Sleeping slot. Sleeping slot. I only blame myself for not having any education, and a sentence that goes, lying in a slot and traveling around the world. Lin Yan can no longer suppress his excited heart. He wished he could move the system out and kiss him hard. What kind of immortal operation are these? The newbie gift package can shock the entire Douluo continent with just the same items taken out. But now, the system has all been stuffed into him. How can we not be excited? The next moment, in Lin Yan's spiritual sea, a golden long sword cloud appeared, along with a cloud enveloping the Black Demon Lord. In the system backpack, a forgotten autumn dew appears. The information about these items automatically comes to mind. Ultimate Martial Soul, Xian Yuan Sword, the Sword of the Holy Way was forged by the Yellow Emperor from the copper collected by various immortals from the Shoshan Mountain. The sword body is engraved with the sun, moon, stars, and mountains, rivers, and plants on one side, containing infinite power, making it the top weapon for attacking and attacking. Ultimate Martial Soul, Demon Lord, Satan, who commands millions of demons, is the king of hell. With his powerful aura, he can suppress all soul ring abilities by 20%. This effect will automatically increase as his soul power increases. Skill. Soul Ring Growth. After obtaining the soul ring, you can increase the current limit of the soul ring by devouring other soul rings, up to 990,000, which is the top level red soul ring. The accompanying soul ring skill will be generated randomly based on the soul master's martial soul. Immortal Herb. Looking through autumn dew, after consumption, you can obtain a dazzling eye and see through all kinds of strange things. This wave is steady. After reading through all the introductions, Lin Yan sighed. Originally, the Haotian hammer existed on the Douluo continent as the ceiling of the attacking weapon and martial soul. But now that he has the Xianyuan sword, he doesn't even bother with the Haotian hammer of Tang's sect. Moreover, there is the beast martial soul of the Demon Lord, which can suppress the enemy's ability. Devil Satan. The King of Hell. Even Pope Bibidong, the twin martial souls are just 2 spider emperors. Compared to my own martial soul, it is completely out of class. With innate soul power and dual martial souls, Lin Yan smiled happily. It seems that the system is afraid that I will be wronged, so I'll just start with a set of divine costumes. The haze in my heart before was swept away, and my mood was greatly relieved. Looking at my own skills, my soul ring grew, and I was once again excited. This skill is simply incredible. The devouring of soul rings has a yearly limit for each one. Unless it is a twin martial soul or an adventure like Tang San, one can break through the limitations of the soul ring. But I am different. The skill of soul ring growth can increase the lifespan of soul rings to the extreme. That is to say, one can easily absorb a soul ring without any effort. When hunting other soul beasts, nourish your own soul rings. Once you have fully grown up, instantly activate 20 red soul rings and don't scare anyone to death. Now it's innate full soul power, then you can easily find a soul ring to absorb it. But soon, Lin Yan thought of the key. That soul skill, it's randomly formed, and there's a gambling element to it. If the randomly selected skills are not good, wouldn't you be wasting them in vain? For a moment, Lin Yan had a feeling of being anxious about gains and losses. Well, I don't think about it for the time being. The system is so awesome that I won't hurt myself. Speaking, he looked at the last reward in the beginner's gift package. Forget to wear autumn dew. The whole plant of Xianqiao is emerald green and looks inconspicuous. In its center, there are 3 snow-white leaves with a few drops of crystal clear water hanging on them. Lin Yan took out a little bit in his palm, and a strange aroma rushed in, refreshing the heart. What a rich aroma! After speaking, he lifted his head and took a sip into his throat, flowing straight into his abdomen. Suddenly, a strange force emerged and converged in the eyes. Waves of golden light emanated, like a scorching sun in the sky. With fiery eyes and golden eyes, it's done. The golden light in Lin Yan's eyes quickly faded, and then summoned the martial soul. The Xian Yuan sword appeared in the palm of the left hand, emitting waves of killing and attacking energy. In the palm of his right hand, a demon lord appeared, with a majestic aura spreading everywhere. Dominant. Lin Yan had a smile on his face, exuding a strong sense of confidence. Lift your right hand and look towards the martial soul demon lord. A demon with dual horns and wings on its back, enveloped in blazing karma, extremely domineering. In his past life, he had seen countless strange Satans. But compared to his own martial soul, it's simply a world of difference. Just this unyielding and self-imposing aura is something they cannot depict. Looking at the palm of his left hand, Xian Yuan's sword stands upside down and slowly rotates. 9 golden dragons hovered around them, like heavenly gods, ruling over the world. On the sword, bursts of killing intent emanated, creating an unconscious sense of oppression in one's heart. 1 positive, 1 evil, 1 demon, 1 path, interesting. Lin Yan looked at his twin martial souls, lost in thought. Suddenly, a sense of powerlessness swept through, and all the double martial souls in their hands disappeared, returning to the sea of spirit. It seems that a powerful martial soul also requires strong strength to support it. I release my martial soul to see how long I can hold on. But in just a few seconds, it cannot be sustained. However, these are not major issues. As I become more proficient in using martial souls and my soul power gradually becomes stronger, these negative impacts will all disappear with it. It seems we need to create a soul ring first. However, Lin Yan was not in a hurry, but first clarified his thoughts. He has already failed to awaken his martial soul once, and now he suddenly awakens, afraid of being questioned by others. During his contemplation, a group of guards approached him. Lin Yan, the Pope has asked us to take you back. Looking at the group of powerful guards, Lin Yan's face remained calm and he followed behind them. After a moment, he was taken to a room in the papal palace, and all the guards retreated. Lin Yan glanced around and found that the room was empty. While puzzled, a majestic voice suddenly came. I heard that your awakening failed. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Pope Bibidon, sneaking at my diary. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Pope Bibidon, sneaking at my diary, I heard that your martial soul awakening failed. The figure of Pope Bibidon appeared in the room, his tone filled with disappointment. I adopted Lin Yan because he had some similarities with someone else. That former lover. Yu Xiaojiang. She had intended to adopt Lin Yan by her side, but she didn't expect that he hadn't even awakened his martial soul. Even if it's just an abandoned martial soul, she has a reason to openly carry him by her side. But before she finished speaking, she was slightly stunned and showed a hint of surprise. No, you have soul power fluctuations on you. Have you awakened? Looking at Lin Yan, her heart was filled with doubts. Just now someone from the Martial Soul Hall reported that it has been confirmed that he has not awakened. But now, why did you suddenly have soul power? I don't know what happened, but after coming out of the Martial Soul Hall, I suddenly woke up. This is a statement that Lin Yan has long thought of. Since it cannot be explained, let's just pretend not to know. Upon hearing his own confession, a hint of joy flashed in Bibidong's eyes. Not bad, let me see. What is your martial soul? Although she had doubts in her heart, why did Lin Yan suddenly awaken successfully after failing to awaken? But because the time interval was not long, she only thought it was during testing and encountered problems. Looking at his martial soul now, it's just out of curiosity. But no matter what, she can keep Lin Yan by her side. My martial soul is a weapon martial soul. As Lin Yan spoke, he revealed the martial soul of Shenyuan's sword. The room suddenly shone with golden light. Innate full soul power. Bibidong let out a cry of surprise, and a hint of amazement flashed in his eyes. She thought Lin Yan was just an ordinary martial soul, and having a level 3 or 4 was already good. Unexpectedly, it was a martial soul with innate soul power. The most important thing is that at this moment, the entire room is filled with a sense of righteousness and righteousness. Very good. Bibidong showed a hint of joy and walked up to Lin Yan. From now on, you will be my disciple. As he spoke, there was a hint of warmth in his eyes. Originally, she wanted to keep Lin Yan by her side, but now that she finds out he is a genius, her heart is even happier. Yes, teacher. Lin Yan nodded obediently. Bibidong's mind had already settled, and he turned around and walked towards the outside. In the future, this room will be yours. As she spoke, her figure had already left. Lin Yan breathed a sigh of relief in his heart and touched the divine note in his arms. The reason why he didn't mention the matter of the dual martial souls is because the demon lord's martial soul made him somewhat worried. Bibidong is also a dual martial soul, with one soul-devouring spider emperor and one death spider emperor. Both of her martial souls conflict with the demon lord. If exposed, the consequences are simply unpredictable. For safety reasons, Lin Yan plans to temporarily hide his second martial soul. I didn't expect the Pope to accept me as a disciple, so I'm from the same school as Helena. Thinking of this, a smile rose from the corner of my mouth. The next morning, Bibidong sent someone to inform him that in a month, he will be taken to hunt for soul rings and be prepared. Lin Yan was not excited about this. After all, he no longer had any requirements for soul rings. The most important thing now is naturally to continue writing a diary. A new day has begun, and I have become a disciple of the Pope. Happy I don't know about hiding the second martial soul. After being discovered by the Master, will you be angry and conflicted? I accidentally got 3 drops of forget to wear autumn dew. I wanted to give 1 drop to the teacher, but I don't know how to say it, it's a headache. Just as he finished writing, the system sound came to Lin Yan's mind. Ding, the host's Check.in diary has been uploaded, obtaining a level 1 soul power level. It has been detected that the host cannot absorb it and has been automatically stored. The system is really considerate, it can even store overflowing soul power. Lin Yan is now increasingly satisfied with the system. Others are diligently practicing, and as long as he writes a diary, he can gain everything. At this moment, he just wants to ask. Who else is there? Even Tang San cannot compare with himself. And for the next month, nothing happened and no one bothered. Lin Yan's little diary flies up every day, and the rewards he receives are becoming increasingly powerful. Ding, the Check.in diary has been uploaded and obtained a first-level soul power level. The host has been detected as unusable and has been automatically stored. Ding, the Check.in diary has been uploaded and you will receive a 200-year soul ring that can be absorbed independently. Ding, the Check.in diary has been uploaded and you have obtained 1 soul bone. After a month, Lin Yan can be said to have gained a lot, and his diary also recorded many things. As for the soul ring, he has not yet absorbed it, but plans to wait until Bibidong takes him to hunt the soul beast before speaking. After all, being indoors every day and suddenly obtaining a soul ring would definitely raise suspicion. Until that day, Lin Yen was called by Bibidong. Prepared to take you to hunt for soul rings next year. Upon hearing Bibidong's explanation, Lin Yen naturally agreed. But just after he left, Bibidong saw a black notebook on the ground. Pick it up with some confusion in your eyes. Divine Level Diary. Dungeon. Is it Lin Yan's? For this kind of thing, Bibidong was not interested in it at first, nor did he want to look through it. I don't know why, but suddenly curiosity arose in my heart, and there was an impulse to open it up. This feeling surprised even herself. Finally, for some unknown reason, it was unexpectedly opened by a strange and mysterious act, and pages began to read. My master came to see me again today. I'm so happy. I wanted to give her the autumn dew I accidentally got before, but I don't know what to say. I just found out today that the room I used to live in was actually owned by my master. No wonder it's so luxurious and has a fragrance, so happy due to the existence of the Martial Soul Hall, many civilians can awaken for free and suppress many evil soul masters. However, Shrek Academy actually wants to destroy the Martial Soul Hall for their own benefit, which is really despicable, looking through the autumn dew. That's fairy grass. Where did Lin Yen get it from? And this Shrek Academy? What is that place? It's like trying to destroy the Martial Soul Hall. Bibidong searched for memories in his mind, but there was no mention of this Shrek Academy. Opening another page of the diary, I want to see if there are any records related to Shrek College later on. Shrek Academy says it only accepts monsters, but Shrek's 7 monsters, which background is not simple, is clearly preparing to resist the Martial Soul Hall. How thoughtful Bibidong calmed down and had the idea of destroying Shrek Academy in his heart. Keep reading. Alas, the matter of the twin martial souls cannot be said. The second martial soul demon lord is too evil. After being discovered by the master, he doesn't know what it will become. Twin martial souls. Demon lord. Bibidong's eyes widened and he was stunned in the same place, his heart shocked. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Shock. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Shock. If we had previously learned about the contents of the diary, it would have been an unparalleled shock for Bibidong. So now, this feeling has escalated again. Twin martial souls. I was already very certain that Lin Yen did not have such powerful soul power, only one type of martial soul. But now what's going on? For a moment, Lin Yen cast a mysterious shadow over Bibidong's eyes. I knew this child was very mysterious for a long time, but I didn't expect such a big surprise to be hidden. If it were just twin martial souls, then it wouldn't have surprised Bibidong so much. After all, she herself is also a twin martial soul, equally powerful. But the demon lord is different. This kind of martial soul undoubtedly has a great suppressive effect on both of his own martial souls. If it weren't for this child's wholehearted concern for himself, even in his diary, he would be loyal to himself. Bibidong even felt that he had an extra-natural opponent. But now it seems that this child is not his opponent, and there is a great possibility that he will become the future pillar of the Martial Soul Hall. I thought this child would become my right-hand man like Nana, but now it seems that I underestimated him. Bibidong's gaze was filled with love and optimism. Such a child who respects her immensely, is wholeheartedly worried about not being able to explain to the teacher, and has considerable potential, is naturally also highly regarded by her. For Bibidong, the Martial Soul Hall is her home. Although some unpleasant things have happened, as long as she can increase her strength, it is worth it. Anyway, Lin Yen, this child, will definitely change the entire Martial Soul Hall. But as she continued to watch, she discovered something that made her laugh and cry. Sigh, I really don't know how to explain to the master, it's really frustrating. If I tell my master that I am a martial soul awakened unconsciously, can she believe it? This statement is too blind, I can't even believe it to a 3-year-old child. Seeing these few lines of words, Bibidong couldn't help but laugh. This child is really interesting. What else is difficult to say with such a close master-disciple relationship with oneself? However, since Yen Er is so worried, then my teacher naturally wants to help him correct this lie. The sudden emergence of twin martial souls is indeed a very difficult thing to explain. It was already difficult to explain why he suddenly regained his martial soul. Nowadays, it's not just a matter of martial souls, it's about innate soul power and twin martial souls. Moreover, the immortal herbs mentioned in Yen Er's diary are truly astonishing, and any one of them would cause a huge sensation when placed outside. How can I help him get through this matter, while also subtly telling Yen Er that he should trust me as a teacher? Before this, the only one who had a strong mentor-disciple relationship with Bibidong was undoubtedly Hulina. But her personality has never been gentle and considerate. Even when teaching Hulina, she is very strict. Not to mention her own biological daughter, when facing Qian Renxue, she rarely smiles even more than Bibidong. I didn't expect to be touched by such a little guy who is so devoted to him now. Yen Er, this little guy is really acting around. He doesn't even tell his master about such a big matter. Although there was some anger on his lips, Bibidong felt that Lin Yan's temperament was very satisfying to her. On the one hand, the child is still young, so being so cautious in doing things is truly commendable. From another perspective, the secrets hidden in the diary are indeed too great. The opportunity Yen Er gained this time is truly unbelievable. Although the things described in the other person's diary can easily make people envious, Bibidong regained his usual calmness after being surprised. She has never been someone who cares very much about others. No matter how lucky the other person is, even if she is her close disciple, she cannot develop jealousy in jealousy. However, since the other party is so secretive in their diary, I must hide this little notebook and never let the other party know that I have read its contents. Lin Yan already knew nothing about Bibidong's diary. Although he has now reached the level where he can obtain soul rings, such rapid progress seems too demonic to the outside world. Fortunately, the system can store the overflowing soul power, and it can also suppress its own strength to a very genius level, but it is not to an incomprehensible extent. It seems that in order to obtain the soul ring this time, we must find a way to reveal something to the teacher. At least we need to solve the problem with my martial souls. Regarding the twin martial souls, Lin Yan actually has some worries. The rewards of twin martial souls and innate full soul power are destined to be impossible to hide. The soul power required in the process of cultivation is too huge, and such a huge soul power cannot be concealed by the strength of the martial soul itself. It seems that he can only inadvertently reveal some information to the teacher, and it would be best if he could satisfactorily tell the other party about the double martial souls. Anyway, as long as the teacher is on their side, no one can threaten their current self. Sigh, today is also a painful and happy day. During the cultivation process, the energy consumed by the twin martial souls is too huge, and even a spiral of energy is formed every day. How can I find a suitable reason to tell the teacher that what I have awakened is actually the dual martial souls? The diary he records every day is also updated on the replica at the same time. Therefore, all the troubles were naturally quietly observed by Bibidong. This question is also somewhat hesitant compared to Bidong. Although I can fully accept my disciple, after all, everyone else knows about Yen Er's inexplicable awakening of his martial soul. There is already a high level of discussion about this matter among everyone. If we find out now that he has awakened to the dual martial souls, it will make a big fuss. She hopes that her disciple can endure when his strength is weak, otherwise he will not be able to grow into the future. Just like herself. Excessive strength and talent also have advantages and disadvantages to some extent. It is a good thing to see oneself receiving the full support of the martial soul hall from the outside world. Only oneself knows how unbearable the hardships and pains are. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Gave you a reason. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 5 gave you a reason at the thought of the hardships he had encountered before. Bibidong's gaze dimmed slightly. But soon, she put these past events behind her. Lin Yan today, in terms of talent, has the best potential she has ever seen in so many years. Even if it is her daughter who cannot be seen, and she can compete with one in the aspect of dual martial souls, she probably does not have such strong luck to encounter such opportunities. However, besides lamenting that he had received such a good disciple, the vast amount of information he mentioned in his diary was also something that Bibidong had to consider. On the one hand, what he has gained now is too shocking and far beyond the range that his level of strength can bear. Moreover, the events he mentioned in his diary involving Shrek College should not be underestimated. Originally, considering someone's reasons, I planned to be lenient with them in some small matters. Now it seems that indulging one's enemies will always lead to letting the tiger return to the mountains. But now, if I want to take action against them, I really don't know where to start. One day, she must completely destroy Shrek Academy. A hint of cruelty flashed in Bibidong's eyes. Lin Yan naturally didn't know where the ideas in his teacher's mind had already jumped into the air. He is now completely in distress, not knowing how to explain to her about the twin martial souls and the reason for his sudden surge in strength. I don't know if I can make the other person believe just by lying casually. Deceiving people is really a difficult thing, especially when it comes to deceiving teachers who are extremely intelligent and for my own good. Lin Yan couldn't help but sigh. Once, when he saw the story about Douluo continent, he also stood in the protagonist's position. There may be some sympathy for the story that happened to the rebellion, but it is also more impossible to empathize with it. Now it's different. He not only belongs to the martial soul hall in the camp, but also has a certain emotional connection with his teacher. In terms of emotion and reason, those protagonist groups that have been cheating have become their enemies. The top priority is naturally to obtain one's own soul ring, so as to naturally absorb the energy brought by the diary. Although I have already made a plan and even laid a series of groundwork in my heart. But at the moment when he met the teacher's eyes, Lin Yan couldn't help but feel a bit hesitant. This is Bibidong, the strongest boss in the entire drama. Can this little cannon fodder really deceive the person in front of me? Lin Yan hesitated for a moment, but still tried to speak. Teacher, my martial soul seems to have undergone some changes recently, and I don't know when it started. There's no other choice but to play dumb. Bibi looked at him with a smile in his eyes, and there was a hint of clarity in his gaze. It seems that this little guy has already started to think of a way to fool himself. Oh, what kind of change has happened? Do you need the teacher to check for you? Lin Yan looked up, his eyes full of innocence and simplicity. Teacher, everyone only has one unique martial soul, right? In theory, that's the case, but there are always exceptions. As he finally began to confess to himself about this matter, Bibidong didn't want him to be afraid anymore. So he threw a word for him and explained it himself. In this world, there are many top-notch martial souls. But besides that, there is a special existence, which is the twin martial soul. When it came to the last 4 words, Bibidong gave Lin Yan a vague glance and explained with a light smile. Twin martial souls, as the name suggests, refer to having 2 different martial souls on the same person. The necessary condition for giving birth to twin martial souls is that the parents' 2 martial souls have the same quality, but their nature is vastly different. In other words, no matter how vastly different 2 martial souls are, as long as their own qualities are similar, it is possible to give birth to twin martial souls. Of course, this is just a factor with a relatively high probability. There are always things in the world that are not absolute, and this possibility cannot be used to represent everything. Bibidong thought for a moment, instead of letting this little guy rack his brains and come up with a clumsy excuse. It's better to just think of an excuse for him on your own, as long as you can barely make it through, it's not a problem. The probability of twin martial souls appearing is very, very low, so when awakening martial souls, most people may only focus on their main martial soul with a strong sense of existence, ignoring the secondary martial soul. But this does not mean that after a period of time, the deputy martial soul will not appear again. Lin Yan was originally a bit of a brain teaser, after all, although he was not clear about his background, since he could have twin martial souls, it was not easy for his parents to imagine. Since the teacher has said that not everyone can discover their twin martial souls in a timely manner, then it is not too slow for oneself to discover the existence of another martial soul after so long. Teacher, what I want to report to you is about this. I found that I have two martial souls. After speaking, Lin Yan timidly extended his hand, and his martial soul slowly materialized in his palm. Apart from the dazzling sword before, some faint black floating particles slowly appeared around. At first glance, it seemed that there was nothing to be seen, but upon closer observation, two completely different forces could be seen competing against each other. It seems that the sword has undergone a transformation, but upon careful analysis, one can indeed feel that it is two completely different forces. Although he already had a plan in his heart and saw specific information in his diary, after witnessing it firsthand, Bibidong was still somewhat shocked. Although she herself is also a twin martial soul, these two forces are somewhat similar, unlike Lin Yan, who is almost two completely opposite forces. Although they are two completely different forces, to some extent, a strange harmony can be achieved between these two forces. Teacher, is my martial soul not considered a complete Shenyuan sword? What is this new martial soul? I'm a bit afraid. When he said these words, Lin Yan even shrunk his neck, looking like I was really scared. Bibi Dongduan's gaze was complex. She also had no exposure to the culture of later generations, otherwise she would definitely be able to understand. What is it? The tea has a strong aroma. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Hunting for Soul Rings. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Hunting for Soul Rings. Although his mood was very complicated, Bibidong didn't say anything to refute, but instead comforted him. It's okay, you don't know much about twin martial souls yet. During the cultivation process, I will take you to learn. The teacher is so serious, how can I develop my tea art? Lin Yan originally intended to make a joke, but seeing his teacher so serious and seemingly worried about his appearance, he couldn't bear to continue the joke. Don't worry, teacher. I will definitely practice diligently and strive to improve my strength. Of course, the most important thing is to quickly find a suitable reason and how to logically convert all the obtained power. Watching his eyes chatter around, Bibidong naturally saw through his careful thinking. However, my own ideas are in agreement with him. It is acceptable to obtain strength through any method without harming oneself. Moreover, the method by which one's own disciple gains power is only a bit mysterious and has not hindered anyone. Of course, one should support him. Bibidong let out a soft voice and smiled at him. Yener, it would be great if you could have a proactive mindset. Now that you can have such an adventure, hurry up and get your soul ring. Lin Yan also nodded eagerly. For him, obtaining the soul ring as soon as possible can also cover up a little unexplained surge in his own strength. Teacher, I just don't know, what should I do? In fact, he had already understood before, although hunting soul rings is not something he can do with his current strength fundamentally, and can only be completed with the help of his teacher. But teachers have always been very strict, and they may want to take this opportunity to test their own abilities. Lin Yan was daydreaming here, his eyes flying wildly. Bibidong knew exactly what the little guy was thinking from his appearance. However, she has already thought about this matter. Hunting soul rings is like the cornerstone of every soul master's cultivation path. The first soul ring is absolutely crucial. Although there are countless soul beasts in the starry forest, it is important to choose the one that best suits you, and the year should not be too short. Finding a truly suitable one is not an easy task. It's getting late today, so go back and prepare first. We'll start early tomorrow morning. Although Lin Yan was slightly disappointed, he thought he could start today. But since the teacher has said so, he naturally prepared to go back obediently. Coincidentally, today's diary has not been written yet. Originally, Bibidong also planned to take him today to obtain the first soul ring. After all, from this little guy's diary, it seems that his strength has probably reached a limit long ago. If he doesn't break through, it will not be beneficial for cultivation. However, the first soul ring is too important. If possible, Bibidong even hopes to find a suitable soul bone. She put a lot of effort into this disciple. Even Hulaina, who was once considered an elite talent cultivated by herself, still did not receive so much attention from herself. Lin Yan hurriedly returned to his residence and opened his diary to record. The weather is nice today. I thought I could go hunt for soul rings without hesitation, but my teacher asked me to wait. So let's wait a little longer. It's really great to find a suitable reason for the matter of the two martial souls, and the teacher has no doubt at all. Speaking of which, after my first martial soul obtains a soul ring, should my second martial soul also look for one? As he wrote his diary, rewards kept appearing in his ears. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for successfully obtaining a growth-type soul bone. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for successfully obtaining 1 year of soul power. After dealing with his own business, Bibidong impulsively opened the dungeon again. I happened to see today's update. However, when she saw that this little guy actually wanted to take charge of the soul ring for her second martial soul, she frowned slightly with some concern. This matter is absolutely not feasible. Although having these two martial souls, it is not the best choice to have both martial souls attached to soul rings at the same time. On the contrary, in the current situation where one has just started practicing and their strength is not yet stable enough, it is best not to rush to choose a soul ring for their second martial soul. The best choice is to wait until after level 60, which can maximize the assurance of your second martial soul. The soul rings that can be attached are those that have been around for over 10,000 years. Of course, these are all things that Bibidong thought of after reading Lin Yan's diary, and she can only guess some of the other party's power from the fragments of words. I didn't expect to see this little guy constantly recording in his diary in the next moment. It's also a coincidence, after all, the soul rings and bones I found can continue to grow, so it shouldn't be a problem to take responsibility now. It's better to find an opportunity to ask the teacher another day. After all, if you use these soul rings without authorization, it will be difficult for the teacher to explain. It's really a hard job to improve one's strength, but compared to the daily fatigue of the teacher, what is this hard work for me? I really hope to improve my skills as soon as possible, so that I can truly help the teacher, instead of relying on the teacher for everything like a drag on the pan. Seeing these little secrets written in the other party's diary, which are unknown to everyone, Bibidong's mood is really complicated. From the past to the present, she has always been a very strong image. No matter how much harm and torment she encounters, Bibidong chooses to silently shoulder it alone. Even if they are suitable for each other's admiration, there won't be too many gentle and considerate moments when they treat themselves. I seem to have always forgotten the feeling of being a woman. She also has moments of weakness and needs a reliable shoulder to rely on. Unexpectedly, now that I have adopted such a young child as my apprentice, the other party actually wants to give me an arm bend to shield myself from wind and rain. No matter where Yen Er can go in the future, as long as he can have this filial piety, the master will definitely protect you thoroughly. Bibidong secretly made up his mind, while at the same time, something that had been hesitating in his heart gradually became clear. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Exercise. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Exercise. For Bibidong, his disciples must have undergone truly intense trials and tribulations in order to stand alone and gain truly powerful combat abilities. She also came this way herself, so she also thinks it is the best way. Although Lin Yan developed a close affection towards her biological son, she still had to be ruthless when necessary, otherwise the other person would never have truly grown. We still need to have a good talk with Yenner about the killing capital another day. Although Lin Yen is not yet old, it is reasonable to lay a solid foundation and not suitable for nurturing seedlings. But the capital of slaughter is really a very special place, and the people who come out of it are basically reborn. Lin Yen, in terms of talent and strength, now looks absolutely top-notch. It's just this mindset that still needs to be honed and honed. If the other party always has such a childish appearance, they will definitely suffer great losses when encountering truly ruthless enemies in the future. Bibidong himself has come from a naive and innocent age, and he knows that such a personality cannot reach the top in Douluo continent. She hopes that her disciples can receive the best training, even though there may be considerable risks in this training, it is still a necessary experience to go through. Moreover, I don't know exactly where this little guy had an adventure, as he was able to pick up mysterious things every day. Lin Yen is still unaware of his own teacher's plans. He diligently writes a diary every day and completes his check-in tasks. Besides, but I don't have much thought to consider other things. Nowadays, on the Douluo continent, the martial soul hall still holds absolute discourse power. Although the two major empires and the upper three sects are undeniable forces, Lin Yen is still very confident about the martial soul hall, a massive creature with countless experts. According to the plot, the current martial soul hall should be the fastest developing time, even if the main characters group continues to go against the sky, the main storyline has not yet begun. After thinking for a while, Lin Yen felt that he should start making plans at this time. From the perspective of the plot, in the future, the Martial Soul Palace will establish a Martial Soul Empire under the guidance of its own teachers. For an empire, powerful soul guides are the powerful weapons in times of war. Just relying on one's current strength, even if one can obtain these powerful weapons, they will not be of much use. It can only be said that we must accumulate strength from now on to lay the foundation for the story that will happen after the plot unfolds in the future. If developed according to the plot, the entire martial soul hall will be completely destroyed under the suppression of the protagonist group. This situation is definitely not what Lin Yen wants to see. Whether for his own future or to treat his beloved teacher, Lin Yen must accelerate his pace. Isn't it just a time traveler? Everyone is also a time traveler, compare who is better. The next morning, Lin Yen eagerly waited for the teacher outside Bibidong's room. He is very excited about today's hunting operation. Although there is a teacher who takes him to hunt the first soul ring, he can at least find an opportunity to act alone and receive the growth soul ring in the system. As long as he obtains the soul ring, his strength will skyrocket and there will be no more obstacles. This matter is also well known to Bibidong. She knows that her little disciple obtained a soul ring from a mysterious place, but due to her own existence, she dare not directly attach it in name only. Since the other party wants to find a reason to secretly act alone, she naturally enjoys playing dumb. As long as the other party can obtain a good soul ring, even if they temporarily act foolish, it is still worth it. Yenner, although the first soul ring is very important, the teacher still hopes to test how much you have gained during your time in the martial soul hall. After hearing the other party's words, Lin Yan's eyes lit up immediately, but on the surface, he still pretended to be in a difficult situation and hesitated. What the teacher means is that today's action should be left to me to complete alone. Bibidong nodded in approval, his eyes filled with support. Your first soul ring is not suitable for obtaining a year that is too high. Although the higher the year, the more advantageous it is for strength growth. Now your strength is weak and the upper limit of endurance is relatively low. Pay attention to this. After speaking, she took Lin Yen to the outskirts of the star forest and then turned her head to look at Lin Yen. This is the outskirts of the starry forest, and theoretically there won't be two powerful soul beasts. Even if you move alone, there won't be too much danger. But there are always exceptions. If you really encounter a difficult and tricky problem and throw a signal flare into the air, I will arrive immediately. Lin Yan naturally knew what her own teacher meant and also knew that she still had a bit of unease about herself. However, since the teacher has decided to let himself act alone, I'm afraid trust is too great to be at ease. Teacher, just take a look. I'm sure I can find the most suitable soul ring. Lin Yan collected the signal properly, then compared to Bibidong and hugged each other, turning around and rushing into the depths of the forest. The starry forest is very vast, and for most beginners who have not yet obtained soul rings, it is indeed a place full of danger. Even a small soul beast with low strength may be able to take their lives at this moment. But for Lin Yan, it's different. Now he has obtained a special set of soul skills from the system. Although this set of soul skills may not be very useful when facing very powerful enemies. But at least at this moment, facing these mediocre soul beasts, he still has the power to fight. Moreover, Lin Yan was just preparing to find a quiet and undisturbed place, and after successfully absorbing the soul rings rewarded by the system, he would leave directly. He really wants to find some soul beasts to practice after his strength improves, but the level of soul beasts here is generally low, and he also looks down on them. If he were to search for some small soul beasts to practice here, it would be like a high-level expert breaking into a novice village and abusing vegetables. Even if he were asked to do something without a sense of achievement, he wouldn't hesitate to do it. As for the higher-level soul beasts deep in the forest, Lin Yan still feels a bit hesitant in his heart. That's not something he can afford to provoke now. But one day, some targets in this forest will come back and try again. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. First Soul Ring. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 First Soul Ring. For Lin Yan, obtaining a suitable soul ring is the most important thing for him this time. Although the system rewarded him with a growth-type soul ring, there was no clear indication of what type of soul ring it was and what kind of soul skill it could provide. So how should I collect it? If I randomly collect a useless soul ring, even for growth type, it doesn't make sense. Lin Yan hesitated and asked the system. The system is very user-friendly, and while he raised doubts, he quickly provided answers. Reply to the host, the selection of soul rings is classified based on your martial soul, and you can choose it yourself. After hearing that he could make his own choices, Lin Yan breathed a sigh of relief. He thought he might be randomly assigned, but if that's the case, the chance of drawing a soul ring that suits him perfectly is too low. After all, your main martial soul is Xian Yuan sword. If you have a weapon martial soul, it is best to choose a soul ring skill with stronger attack or auxiliary skills. I hope my soul ring is a soul ring that can enhance attack power and activate soul skills, preferably in this area. Received, may I ask the host if they want to exchange soul ring rewards now? Lin Yan was about to answer yes when he suddenly sensed a strange movement coming from behind in the grass. He followed his intuition and instinctively teleported towards the side. After a moment, a huge black hole immediately appeared from the position where I had just stood. Black holes are accompanied by bursts of smoke and dust, which can even be seen from the scorched earth, with a hint of corrosiveness. He didn't say a word, but Lin Yan felt a slight chill in his heart. The reason why he dodged in an instant just now was actually that he didn't notice anything, it was just a momentary feeling that something was wrong. The rolling smoke and dust slowly dispersed, and the thing that had just wanted to sneak attack on him gradually appeared before my eyes. A spider with 2 pairs of compound eyes appeared on the ground. A main body with a diameter exceeding 1.5 meters. A strange large spider with 8 long spears and legs exceeding 3 meters, with a black shell all over its body, shining brightly. The slender front end of the long legs silently pierces the ground with each step, indicating their sharpness. There are some white patterns on the lower abdomen of the spider, forming a sharp contrast with its black body. Of course, if that's all, it doesn't matter. Most importantly, these white patterns seem to combine into some kind of pattern. Formed a sinister facial form. I'll strangle it. Lin Yen took a deep breath of cold air in an instant, and a hint of complexity appeared in his eyes. While trembling with fear, it's hard to say what kind of mood one should be in at this moment. For these soul beasts that appeared in the early main storyline of Douluo continent, I believe all fans have a clear idea. Especially for a soul beast that exists like a small boss, with such a unique terrifying appearance, even those who have not seen the work may have obtained some information about its existence from various channels. Human-faced magic spider. At this moment, what appears in front of me is probably the infamous human-faced magic spider that Tang San once encountered in the work. Am I lucky or unlucky to encounter someone else's golden finger at such a moment? If Tang San appears here at this moment, it must be said that his golden finger has been credited. But what appears here at this moment is Lin Yen. Lin Yen has no idea about the power of the human-faced demon spider, and to some extent, he even hopes that he won't encounter any soul beasts. The opponent's strength does not add much bonus to one's martial soul, and it is not very suitable for oneself. He wished he could stay quietly in a cave and smoothly refine the soul ring he had drawn. However, this human-faced magic bead happened to come close to him by chance, leaving one unsure whether it was lucky or unlucky. Of course, these thoughts were all just in the blink of an eye. No matter what kind of thoughts Lin Yen had in his heart, the human-faced magic bead wouldn't give him any hesitation time. This big spider, which was quite fierce by its appearance, rushed forward without hesitation and revealed its huge fangs, which were filled with venom at first glance, to Lin Yen. Lin Yen squinted his eyes and quickly used his soul skills to dodge the constant attacks of the human-face magic bead. After all, he has not yet absorbed soul rings, even if it is innate full soul power, his current level cannot be compared to this big spider. The optimal solution at this moment, without a doubt, should quickly release the signal flare and let our own teacher handle this guy. This is the best method, but it is not the effect that Lin Yen wants to achieve. Although it was agreed that he would come out to experience, he naturally hoped to rely on his own strength to handle all the unexpected situations he faced. The most important thing when hunting soul rings in the Star Forest is naturally to find suitable soul beasts to obtain soul rings. However, at the same time, how to deal with the various dangers in the Star Forest is also a part of the experience. Obtaining the first soul ring is certainly important, but if one can only rely on the help of the teacher throughout the entire process, then one may appear too useless. The most important thing is that the promise made in front of the teacher, which he had previously promised, was suddenly shattered. Lin Yen admits to being a face-saving person, and his inexplicable self-esteem always forces him to grill himself on the fire. He hopes that no matter what he does, he can rely on his own strength, at least in front of the teacher, and never lose this share. Therefore, in the last resort, he would never use the signal flare he had placed inside the storage ring. At the beginning, the signal flare had already been thrown into the furthest corner of the ring by him, and it was not intended to be used at all. However, the big spider in front of me is so powerful that even the system can't help but remind me. There is a significant difference in strength between the two sides, and the host has not yet obtained the soul ring. It is recommended not to compete hard. Lin Yen let out a bitter smile. He certainly knows that fighting against the big spider now is the most unwise action, and no matter who says it to hear it, he will probably think he must be foolish. But if a person does not push themselves to a certain level, it is probably impossible to truly unleash their ultimate strength. Lin Yen hopes that he can still put it together. He took a deep breath, looked at the big spider in front of him, and rushed forward. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. First Battle. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 First Battle. Although the big spider looks quite scary, Lin Yen is not a vegetarian either. Even though he hasn't obtained the soul ring yet, his level has always been stuck here. But the soul skills he learned should also come in handy. Just a human-faced magic spider, really treating yourself like a dish. Lin Yan's heart was actually pounding, but he didn't spare anyone at all. I don't know if the human face magic bead can understand his words. At this moment, after hearing a few words from Lin Yan's mouth, the big spider unexpectedly rushed towards him. Seeing the attacking force from the other party, Lin Yan secretly exclaimed, "Good day." The most important aspect of his soul skills that he has practiced before is to control speed with speed. All martial arts in the world are fast and unbreakable. Although spiders are covered in copper skin and iron bones, and they themselves have very strong toxicity, as long as they deal with it properly, they are enough to suppress the opponent in terms of speed. If encountering other types of soul beasts, Lin Yan may also have some concerns. But what he encountered was a human-faced magic bead, a soul beast that was quite unique. The human-faced magic spider has a solid shell, incredibly fast speed, and 8 long legs with extremely strong penetration and venomous effects. At the 100-year level, it can be compared to an ordinary soul hand at the 1000-year level, and the most terrifying thing is its spider web. The webs of ordinary spiders are made by spinning silk, but they are different. Their webs are directly sprayed out, not only highly sticky, but also incredibly tough, with terrifying neurotoxicity attached. The spider web of the human-faced magic spider can spit out 3 times a day, and its first action when it sees prey is to spit out the spider web. Its key is very obvious, it has 8 eyes, but it is not without defense, and there is a transparent protective layer on the surface of the eyes. The human-faced magic spider, a terrifying soul beast, is often hunted by powerful soul beasts due to its strong killing nature. It is already not easy to cultivate for thousands of years, let alone for thousands of years. After reaching a strength of 10,000 years, a hidden special skill will appear. This skill can not only conceal one's own body shape, but also one's own breath, even spiritual detection can be blocked. Of course, although the big spider that appeared in front of us may seem terrifying, it is impossible for it to reach a height of 10,000 years in any case. The other person even looks like they have only been around for a few hundred years. Lin Yan, who had read the original work thoroughly, had a guess in his heart, but it cannot be confirmed now. The human face magic bead that appears in front of me is likely Tang San's first soul ring. It was also the opportunity for the other party to obtain the first external soul bone. For Lin Yan, the martial soul hall is his true home, and the group of protagonists is undoubtedly his future enemies. Being able to seize some opportunities from enemies at the moment is certainly the best thing. Although he is not very interested in this external soul bone, after all, his martial soul does not match all the soul skills on this soul beast. But since the other party has already bumped into him right now, he naturally won't let it go. This big spider looks very powerful, even if it doesn't need its soul ring, it's impossible to leave it for others. These ideas are basically completed in an instant. Lin Yan regained his senses and quickly dodged to the side, snatching a sudden attack from the big spider. Nowadays, he does not have a soul ring, so many soul skills cannot be used, and it is not good to directly use his own martial soul. But this does not mean that his combat power is limited. On the contrary, without using his martial soul, he also possesses very strong combat abilities. Lin Yan clenched his palm and a pair of extremely sharp spikes appeared before his eyes. If Tang San's unique secret is to use hidden weapons, then for Lin Yan, a variety of emerging weapons are also one of the advantages he can firmly grasp. During the process of writing a diary earlier, he once received such a reward. Illustrated weapons. Although it may sound like an ordinary reward on the surface, it may not even be as powerful as a martial soul during battles. But after careful study, Lin Yan realized that his thoughts were still too simplistic. The things produced by the system, even if they appear ordinary on the surface, cannot really be so simple. This weapon illustrated not only allows him to master various obscure or popular weapons, but also acts like a small storage space. As long as Lin Yan masters the use of this weapon and practices it diligently, he can light up the picture book on the book. As long as he lights up the guidebook, he can choose to use weapons at any time, and the weapons will also appear beside him. Of course, although the existence of this book is extremely unfavorable, there is still an undeniable flaw that cannot be ignored. That is the weapon he can summon, currently limited to the first level. Using cold weapons alone is indeed a difficult way to inflict damage on soul masters with high soul power. But when in the wild, facing these soul beasts that are not particularly intelligent and do not have 1,000 knots like humans, the effect of using cold weapons is suddenly highlighted. After holding the thorn in his hand, Lin Yan inexplicably became full of confidence. A few dodgers quickly swept forward and jumped directly behind the human-faced magic spider. The sharp thorn fiercely pierced into the spider's 8 big eyes. Although most of the damage was blocked by a transparent protective cover, it still caused some piercing damage. The human-faced magic spider felt pain and quickly retreated a considerable distance. However, how could Lin Yan watch him escape helplessly? Now that the attack has had an effect, he naturally wants to seize the opportunity to pursue. What's more, the human facial mask spider is a kind of soul beast with a very vindictive attitude. If he is released at this moment, no matter when he comes to the Star Forest again in the future, he will definitely be watched by this ghost. Whether it's to avoid future troubles now, or unwilling to provide someone with a golden finger, Lin Yan will never let him go. This big spider and its external soul bone, Lin Yan has taken them. Tang San walked quietly with his teacher in the starry forest, observing the movements around him from time to time. Suddenly, his heart tightened slightly. An indescribable sense of loss lingers in my heart. Although nothing happened, Tang San felt as if he had lost something very important. This kind of emotion is very subtle and cannot be easily described in just a few words. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Absorbing Soul Rings. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Absorbing soul rings. Lin Yanxi was completely unaware of what had happened on Tang San's side. However, even if he had a clear idea in his mind, he probably wouldn't take it lightly. Anyway, the two of them, who were originally strangers, are now standing on opposite sides. Whether it was Tang San himself and his family, or the teachers from Shrek Academy, their relationship with the Martial Soul Hall was basically torn apart. Just focus on this point. Anyway, they can no longer be friends, so why not cut corners and make a living? Lin Yan breathed a sigh of relief after solving the human-faced magic spider. He plans to find a cave and complete his major task first. After successfully absorbing the soul ring, he goes directly to find the teacher. Although the starry forest is a forest, its terrain is vast and boundless, and any environment can even be found within it. Finding a cave is an incredibly simple task. Lin Yan discovered a cave that had been damaged for a long time, with weeds overgrown inside, and it seemed that it had even been damaged by something. At least from the surface, even the lowest level soul beasts don't want to make a nest here. Of course, this kind of environment is actually what Lin Yan is most looking for. After finding the cave, he walked to the innermost part of the cave without hesitation and sat cross-legged. Before entering the cave, he had already sprinkled some powder around to drive away wild animals. Although these powders cannot resist some powerful soul beasts, they are still very effective in driving away weaker ones. Of course, these powders were also taught to him by the teacher before leaving. After completing all the preparations, Lin Yan immediately began calling out to the system, wanting to extract his soul ring and absorb it directly. The system is still quite reliable. Although Lin Yan was eager, the system still reminded him multiple times just in case. Lin Yan's application was only approved after he had indeed taken all necessary protective measures around him. Subsequently, a dazzling golden light slowly appeared before Lin Yan's eyes. Its main martial soul is Xian Yuan Sword. Xian Yuan Sword, a martial soul, has a very powerful attack power. Even without any soul ring bonus, relying solely on its own strength is enough to rank among first-class martial souls. Moreover, now he can still have more bonuses. After thinking for a while, Lin Yan made a choice about his soul ring. For his martial soul, the Xianyuan sword itself is the main carrier, and if other things are added too complex, it may be too flashy. What he needs to consider is simply to increase the attack power of Xianyuan sword. Therefore, Lin Yan did not hesitate to choose an auxiliary effect for his first soul ring. Flame bird, a bird that is filled with blazing flames all year round. Don't underestimate him as just an ordinary-looking soul beast, but he can bring very powerful bonus effects to the weapon soul. Moreover, the flame bird is still a growth-type soul ring rewarded by the system. Although it currently seems that the age of this soul ring is only a few hundred years, it is infinitely approaching the upper limit that a person can bear. But only Lin Yan knew in his heart that in the future, when the time was ripe, the lifespan of this soul ring could continue to increase without any limit. Of course, the flame bird also has a very important characteristic, which is the main reason why Lin Yan chose it. That's his soul skill. Infinite penetration. Just by the name, you can tell that this soul skill is too suitable for martial souls. The attack power of Xianyuan sword needs no doubt, but no matter what kind of weapon or martial soul it is, its ability to penetrate is absolutely what it relies on during battles. Only when the penetrating power is high enough can we break through the opponent's defense line. For his current level, it is indeed very difficult to suppress his opponents in terms of strength. Moreover, he plans to enter the capital of slaughter and undergo training there in the future. It would be too difficult to stand out in the city of slaughter simply by relying on the power that appears on one's appearance. He must possess some soul skills that pay attention to self-protection in order to quickly improve his strength. It is precisely because of the existence of such a soul skill that Lin Yan chose this soul ring without hesitation. After making a good choice, he began to actively absorb it. The process of absorbing soul rings is slightly easier than Lin Yan had imagined. Although the age of this soul ring is very high and has basically reached the maximum limit it can withstand, it must be said that it has not yet exceeded this limit. During the absorption process, Lin Yan's whole body was filled with a sense of pain that had been reshaped. Although it was painful, it was also clear that his strength was constantly rising. Even as he was about to be absorbed and completed, his martial soul was uncontrollably released. The fiery red bird is like a phoenix, constantly flying around the golden sword, looking full of a strange beauty. Although soul rings and martial souls complement each other, Lin Yan doesn't have the extra energy to appreciate them at this moment. He vaguely felt that he couldn't suppress another martial soul. This may also be one of the drawbacks of double martial souls. Although I listened to the teacher's advice and tried not to consider attaching a soul ring to another martial soul. But after all, my current strength is still too weak, and it is difficult to suppress my power after using martial souls. As long as the Xianyuan sword is summoned uncontrollably, the second martial soul is likely to be summoned together at the same time. Unfortunately, it is now at a critical moment to absorb soul rings, and these overflowing powers are constantly tempting their other martial soul. Lin Yan gritted his teeth tightly, with a hint of unwillingness and sharpness in his eyes. Having endured so much hardship and pain, is it because of this little bit of soul power that cannot be absorbed that our efforts will fall short? He is unwilling and absolutely cannot tolerate this happening. Thinking of this, Lin Yan took a deep breath and took out the outer soul bone that had fallen from the facial mask bead that had killed people before. At present, I really don't have any extra options, although this external soul bone does not match my martial soul very well. However, it is always stronger than being lured out of one's second martial soul and failing to absorb soul rings. Let's treat the dead horse as a living horse doctor. Even if the attachment of the external soul bone fails, it will only fall off on the spot. Anyway, the situation cannot be worse. End of this chapter.